Hello, strangers. Video day today. I'm trying to get back on track here. And as promised, we're going to do a Q&A today. Now, I put out a thing on Twitter. I've put it out on YouTube. And, well, nobody replied to either of those things. So I haven't had any actual questions from the audience here. So, as a backup, I'll go to some of the interview questions that I did on some of these sites that I have my books published on. So, from the Smashwords ebook publishing site, I've got a few questions here that kind of the interview things that they give you. So, they give you questions and you can kind of write them out. So, first question here. Do you remember the first story you ever read and the impact it had on you? Well, first story I ever read, I don't actually remember. It was a little too far back. According to my mother, however, there is a Berenstain Bears book called the B Book, or the Big B Book. And my mother would read that to me. And basically what it was is just he would add words or add small phrases onto what was previously put there. So you had the big brown bear, and then the big brown bear met a beautiful baboon and a blue bull, and each thing would just add onto it. As you flip the page, you would add, the big brown bear was doing this, and the beautiful baboon was doing that, and the blue bull was doing that, and they all went off and did this. Next page, then they did this, and and it'd repeat. So when I was about 2.5, I'd had that story told to me so many times that I effectively memorized it, such that I was able to pick up that book at 2.5 and read it cover to cover myself. So was that actually reading? Maybe, because I'm kind of recognizing the words and the pictures to go along with it, and I memorized what came next, and that's part of what reading is. Okay, so next question. Question number 2. Do you remember the first story you ever wrote? No. I also do not remember that. However, I was writing little stories just off the top of my head. The most prominent things that kind of comes to mind, the one memory that does stick out of something that I wrote, could really be attributed to fan fiction. I was a huge Star Wars fan, and I'd say around 2nd grade, there was this one story that I wrote that kind of retelling the whole Hoth battle, but it was, so I had that, but I was kind of telling it my own way. But I wrote that out, and I also drew pictures. As bad as my drawing is, it's terrible. But I draw these pictures and then write out the story underneath it. And I kind of put that in a little book form and show it to my parents, and they liked it. And so I do little things like that, little stories like that, up until about the 3rd grade, when I got the teacher that I had in Germany, who basically destroyed everything as far as that's concerned. Well, it's not, and not so much destroyed it, but it delayed it for a good 20 years. So, when did you first start writing? Number 3. From 3rd grade on, I didn't really write much. I'd write poetry, song lyrics, but nothing really prose. Um, until around ooh, around college, I found this website dedicated to Star Wars fans. Episode 1 had just come out, and there was this Nightly Net website that was dedicated to um, speculation on what the next movie was going to be. And they had a little fan fiction area in there. Well, I didn't necessarily want to write Star Wars fan fiction again, but I had this little kernel of idea, and so I said, well, can I write something other than fan fiction? And they said, go ahead. So I started writing what became my first novel, Star Child Prophecy. And from there, the fan fiction site kind of morphed into more of just a kind of a book site and a writer's site. And to the point that they both combined a little bit later. And then we did a lot of contest short stories and things like that. So some of my other published works come from that kind of, come from that site. Let's see. Number 4, yes, okay. Who are your favorite authors? Well, I tend to favor sci-fi and fantasy. Those are the things that kind of just pique my interest. A lot of the books that I was forced to read in high school, junior high, high school, in some college. By and large, they put me to sleep. Anything from the Dickens era, just Dickens. I can't read. I can't read a lot of the other people. So my favorite authors tend to be a little bit more contemporary and tend to fall into the sci-fi fantasy authors. A couple of notes, a couple of noteworthy ones. Obviously, Tolkien, J.K. Rowling. I love the Harry Potter series. That was a great series. I only wish I could be half the writer she is. Guy by the name of Terry Goodkind wrote the Sword of Truth series. Many people probably know it better from the Seeker TV show that came on. He was okay until he kind of went all Ayn Rand on us. Around book 6, 7, or 8 in the Sword of Truth series that he did. And so that's a few names there. And unfortunately, I don't really read as much as I probably should. Let's see. What is your writing process? I don't really have one. I'm trying to get one. If anybody has any recommendations on a process by which to write, send it to me. I'd love to have, I'd love to see if I can adopt one here. What motivated you to become an indie author? Well, I wrote Star Child Prophecy over 10 years ago. It took me 2.5, 3 years to write it, from 2001 to 2003. And I basically went a good 10 years trying to figure out how am I ever going to get this thing published. I know nothing. I still know nothing. I know a lot more now than I did, but I didn't, and I didn't catch on to the whole ebook craze. I didn't catch on. I didn't understand the self-publishing thing. I didn't know that was possible. So from 2003 until 2012, when I found the Amazon site that allows people to self-publish, which is called CreateSpace, and then I found Smashwords almost a year later, and then Lulu and a few others. I didn't know anything about that, so the reason why I'm an amateur or an independent published author is because I couldn't find a way to get published in a regular publishing house. I didn't know who to contact. I didn't know who to deal with. Um, I'm like I said, I'm a little more knowledgeable about that now. So, if there's any writing agents out there um, looking for a new client, contact me, please. Um, so let's see. How do you approach your cover design? Still working on that. I can't draw, so I have to kind of Photoshop a lot of stuff, or find somebody else who's an artist to do the cover. I kind of Photoshop the first cover for Star Child Prophecy, but it was just too plain, and a lot of people were saying there's not enough to this. It's not eye catching. So I actually found a friend of my brother's did the artwork, which I basically called a second edition for that. So, but I need a new artist for which is coming on to the next question here. What are you working on next? I'm almost done. Good news and bad news. I'm almost done with Star Child Regency. The bad news is I'm almost done with Star Child Regency. And of course, once I get that done, then I got to go through the editing process and beta readers and cover art and all that sort of stuff. So I got to find a cover artist for that. So that's the trials and tribulations, and then I got to format it so that it'll be unless I can get a book agent who will get me a book company and get it published and get all that sort of stuff and handle a lot of that stuff for me. So, and the last question here on the Smashwords interview questions thing here. Describe your desk. Well, when I had a desk, I could sum it up in one word: chaos. But I don't really have a desk much anymore, so at the moment, so it can't even be that. But anyway, that's probably longer than I needed to go. So this has been this Q&A. I'll see if I can maybe do a Q&A every month. So starting now. So if you have questions, look down into my social media sites down below, Twitter, Facebook, and all those, and send me some questions there. Put some questions down in the comment section. And of course, if you want to find out when the next one is, if you sent a question and wanted to see it answered, subscribe. And you'll get the next videos. So until then, stay strange. Bye.
Thanks for watching my video. If you like what you just watched, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below. For more of my videos, click the subscribe button on the screen or down in the description below. If you'd like to support me and what I do, I have books that you can read. The links are in the description below. If you want to support in other ways, you can go to my Patreon page and help me out there. You can also follow me on various social media pages. The links to all of those are also below. Thank you again. Stay strange.